Welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Eli, and the topic of today's bedtime story is 28F wonders if she's the a-hole. One more time. 28F, 28 female, wonders if she's the asshole, a-hole. And, trying to, abbreviate the titles, be YouTube compliant. You have to abbreviate this stuff in the titles. Anyway, I thought this was a very interesting posting on Reddit. So let's get right to it and check it out. This is from the subreddit relationships_advice. And the title is, Am I the asshole? F, 28. 28-year female is asking this. So let's get right to it. I am a 28-year-old woman that has been, ma'am. Grammar check. I'm a 28-year-old woman that have been with my 28-year-old boyfriend, that has been with my 28-year-old boyfriend for 7 years. That's called past tense, ma'am. Okay, have is present tense. I have this right now. Okay? Has been is past tense. It already happened. Anyway. Been with my 28-year-old boyfriend for 7 years. That's quite a long time. We basically grown with each other. It should be we've basically grown with each other, or we have grown up with each other or something. Your grammar is horrible, ma'am. I'm already beginning to look at your grammar and just, it tells me the type of person you are, right? We'll get more into that in a little bit. We basically grown with each other, she wrote. Should be we've basically grown with each other and experienced many milestones in our lives, like our college graduation, first job, and first apartment together, etc. Well, part of the problem here is this, that you folks were probably each other's first and you haven't experienced dating other people, so you lack experience, right? And I can tell you right now, if you two stay together and get married, I'm sure one or the both of you will cheat at one point or another. Now, it's possible to, date and marry your high school sweetheart or college sweetheart, but it's less likely to happen nowadays because there are a lot of options, and people want to explore those options, and you should explore those options when you're in your teens and early to mid 20s. But by your mid 20s, you should really start to figure out who to settle with. But yeah, it kind of sounds like you folks have been stuck like glue together and you're suffocating each other. And now you, the lady, are coming out and saying this in a different way. And what you say about your man here, which we'll get to in a bit, his reactions are basically telling me that he feels suffocated, and other things too. Just wait and see this, okay? I am a very career-oriented person and I enjoy working. That's masculine energy, ma'am. Nothing wrong with women having careers, being liberated, and being independent. But here you are. I am very career-oriented. That's a big turnoff to men. Because the truth of the matter is, while men, most reasonable, decent men like myself, are very happy and thrilled that you're liberated and you're making your own money and you've got your own things, but initially, we don't give a shit about that. And quite frankly, that's not what attracts us to you ladies. What attracts us men to you ladies is your sweet, loving, and feminine side. And right now, ma'am, you're flexing your muscles like a man. Like a man, not a man. You're flexing your muscles like a man. I think I said that the wrong way. I'm sorry. It's not attractive. And I think your man is annoyed by this. All right? I'm a very career-oriented person and I enjoy working. I've been working in tech for 5 years. Oh, you're working in tech with the high-tech geeks. So you're a techie, geeky type of woman and you're probably highly introverted, ma'am. Yeah. Well, my significant other recently graduated from his master's program in August 2021. So you're both 28. he graduated with his master's. So he was in college probably longer than you, getting a master's degree, which takes longer. Okay? So let's read what she says. It's been 4 months since he graduated and he hasn't been actively finding a job. Maybe he's a little tired, ma'am, and wants a little bit of a break. He's been busting his ass going to school for probably like 8 years. Right? It's been 4 months. And maybe he is looking, but maybe he hasn't gone full force. Maybe he wants to take 6 months off and relax and go into it fresh. Right? As long as he's working some other type of job at 28, he should have some income coming in, regardless of the college degree or not. If that's the case, then, that's a different story. But then I'd say, why are you with him then? Okay? I've tried to help him with his resume and job applications, but he spends most of his day playing video games and picking up side hustles selling shoes. Okay, yeah, he's doing a side hustle. Depends how much money he's making. Playing video games, a lot of guys, most guys that do that typically do that because they're just not happy in their relationship anymore. But they just don't want to break your heart. So they just play video games, do a side hustle, and, just kind of try to avoid you as much as possible and spend enough time with you to the point of where you don't break up with them and they don't have to break up with you. Because this guy really probably doesn't want to break up with you. He's just feeling that you're not the same person, and you're not, man. You're acting like a man. He's getting turned off because you're acting like a man, and it's forcing him to feel like he has to act like a woman, and the sexual polarity is off in your relationship, right? His reasoning on not being serious about job hunting is that he wants to chill before being tied down to a full-time job. I just said that. It's not that he's trying to chill. Maybe that's what he's telling you. The dude got a master's. Master's degrees, depending on the career, they take anywhere from 6 to 8 years to get one, right? So he's probably really, really tired and wants to take a little bit of a break to recover some energy before he goes out and works full force, right? Nothing wrong with that as long as he has some extra money coming in. And he said he has a side hustle. Is he paying the bills? Are you two living together, or are you living separate, right? And if you're not living together, does he have enough money to take you on dates? Has anything changed about what you two have done for the last 7 years because of money or other reasons? It sounds like, ma'am, you're trying to mold him into the man you feel he should be rather than letting him be the man he was meant to be. Ma'am, this is not good. You're wrong here, ma'am, completely. Completely wrong. I am mortified that he isn't taking this seriously. No, ma'am, he's annoyed that you're on his ass and you won't let him breathe. You're trying to control him. And you're acting like a man. And you yourself said you're very career focused, which is masculine energy. Everything about you, ma'am, you may look like a cute woman probably, right? But you're acting like a man, and that's not attractive to men. It's not. It is not at all. Besides his lack of motivation with job searching, we are also struggling with finding a common ground. Then why don't you break up with him, ma'am? Why don't you break up with him? If you're not happy, why won't you break up with him? He's probably a good lover. Maybe he's a good looking guy. Maybe you've got 7 years. It's an emotional attachment and it's hard for you to let go. But if you're not happy if you can't find common ground, then why don't you break up with him? And here's the reason why you're not finding common ground, ma'am. It's because you're acting like a man. You're flexing your muscles. You're saying, I'm a career-oriented woman. No guy wants to hear that. No guy cares. Let me tell you this. I'm not saying I don't care about... I have a great girlfriend now I've been seeing for 4 months. I care about her work. But the reason why I care about her work is because we're together now in a relationship and we're loyal and faithful to each other. When I first met her, or when I first have met women in the past, I don't give a shit about their career. None of that matters until I know we're compatible in a relationship, right? Guys don't care about what women do as a career until we know you're totally into us for the right reasons, and you're a feminine woman, not a masculine, career-oriented woman that's flexing her muscles like you're doing, man. Man, this is a big turnoff. Big, 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 big turnoff. For example, I'll work 8 to 10 hours a day from home and don't have time to eat, take out the trash, or do chores. Each time I ask him to help out around the apartment, he argues that I need to stop telling him what to do. So you're living together. That's what that tells me, right? Ma'am, you need to find time to do that stuff and work. It sounds like to me, ma'am, that you want this guy to be your slave. You want him to be the housewife, and you want to, have him do all the things that women used to do back in the days of traditionalism, and you do all the things that the man used to do back in the days of traditionalism. Ma'am, you're, this is ridiculous. This is, if I was this guy at age 28, if I knew what I know now at age 48, at 28, and I was dating this woman, I would have shit canned her. She would have been gone. Wow. Each time I ask him to help out around the apartment, he argues that I need to stop telling him what to do. Ma'am, you do. You're being ridiculous. Now, if he's completely a lazy guy and doesn't care, right? Okay, that's one thing, right? Okay, I think this guy is just annoyed because you're acting like a man. You're not acting feminine, ma'am, and he's annoyed that you're a rough around the edges type of woman, which is masculine energy and not feminine energy. He's annoyed. I just feel like we are two different people now, and each time I ask him about his job search, he finds it extremely offensive and tells me that it's his problem and I'm not his mom. You're not his mom. You're not. You're acting like his mom, and you're actually acting even worse than his mom. You're acting like a man, ma'am, with a vagina. You're not getting it, ma'am. And any guy, any normal, decent guy that's not a beta male would not be putting up with this. We don't put up with these types of women, right? You want to be career focused and work on your job and make that your entire life and prioritize that over everything else, and then and then try to get the man to be your slave, ma'am. It's better for you to be alone. Because I'll tell you this: there are a lot of women, when I was single, that I encountered through dating apps that are in their 40s and 50s and even 60s that still look very good for their age. They're in very good shape. They're sexy even at their age, 40s, 50s, or 60s. They are very career oriented. They've got a nice house, nice car. They're very financially well off, but they're single, never been married, and no kids. And why is that? Because their attitude is just like yours. They act like men, and they prioritize their careers over family. And they exude more masculine energy than feminine energy. This is ridiculous. This is the kind of stuff that really annoys me. It really does annoy me. I care because I want my significant other to be career-oriented like me and grow as an individual, but he doesn't understand why it is important to me. Who cares why it's important to you, ma'am? You're being very selfish right now. You are a woman and not a man. It's not your place to tell that guy or any other guy what to do, and it's not his place to tell you what to do. You two have a choice to either support each other on what you're currently doing and accept each other for who each other is, or you get out. So if you're unhappy, ma'am, why don't you just leave him? Because with your attitude, you're not going to find another guy anywhere remotely as good as this dude. I gave him an ultimatum. If he doesn't find a job by February, I'm considering on leaving him. Okay. Well, that's great, ma'am. You're probably going to, be single next month in February. I'm assuming it's February 2022 because I'm recording this video the second week of January 2022. You should probably leave him now. You two should break up. This guy should break up with you. If I was this guy, I would have already broken up with you. This is a piss poor shitty attitude. Also, keep in mind that we live together. I figured that out by what you said earlier. Before we signed an apartment lease, we made a deal in the beginning that I pay 60% of the rent while he pays 40% until he has a full-time job. Now that the apartment lease is up, I want to live alone because I want my own space, and I don't know how to say that to him without him being angry. Am I the asshole? Well, Ma'am, I wouldn't quite say you're an asshole because, first of all, we don't call women assholes. We call them something else, and I won't even stoop to that level. I won't call you the B word. I think what's happening here, ma'am, is that you've been sucked into the feminist agenda. You've been sucked into the social stigma of being more career focused than family focused, and you're working in high tech, which is a very introverted type of arena. So you're probably more introverted, and you're probably really not realizing how you're coming off, right? Okay. You're not realizing that you are acting like the head of the household, and that's masculine energy, any way you look at it. And it's repelling your man. You're paying 60% of the rent. So women will say, okay, we're okay being the provider and stuff for a little while, while until he gets a full-time job. And the guy just graduated college with a master's degree a few months ago. He wants to take a few months off to relax, work some side hustles, right? And you said you're willing to pay 60% of the rent in the meantime while he pays 40. As long as he's paying his 40% like you agreed upon, and as long as he gets a full-time job within the next, 6 months to a year or so, give the guy a little break. You made that agreement, right? But see, here's the thing. All women, no matter what they say about wanting to be the head of the household or not, do not respect a man that makes less money than them or pays less of the bills than them. That's what you're struggling with here. That's what you're struggling with here, man. On one hand, you're trying to be this strong, woman and acting like a man, and on the other hand, you're taking on that role, and then you're getting mad at him for something you agreed to. So yeah, you're not necessarily an asshole. You're just you've been sucked into the agenda by your friends, other peers, right? What you see on TV. Maybe what your family has told you, right? You're not being true to yourself, right? You're very, very judgmental, and you have a shit ton of expectations, okay? I wouldn't put up with a woman like that, okay? At age 28, I was working in retail and retail management and retail corporate during that time, and I was still, working on figuring out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, which I figured out. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I figured that out in my early to mid 30s, right? And you got to understand that a lot of guys nowadays are not settled into their career until they're in their early 30s, right? And then you ladies are going to college right out of high school and getting a 4-year degree and getting in a career, and you're starting to work immediately right away, right? Some of us guys take a little more time because we want to figure out what we want to do. And some of us guys, we work jobs where throughout our 20s, we build our resume and we build, for example, if we're working for a company, we work our way up and we start making more money by the time we're in our 30s. You're just not being patient, man. That's the thing. You're not being patient. You're acting like a man. You're more career focused than family focused. And quite frankly, man, nothing wrong with you having a career, but you have to choose one or the other that you want to focus more on. I'm not saying choose one or the other and shit can the other aspect. You can work and still, be family focused, right? But you have to prioritize one over the other. And you're making your choice. You're prioritizing your career over wanting to have a family. And that is masculine energy, ma'am. I'm sorry, any way you look at it, okay? It's turning off your guy. You're not an asshole. He just wants a mommy, get your own place. That's a woman saying this. She's completely wrong there. Completely wrong. You young women, this is the agenda you've been sucked into. That's why you're going to be lonely and single, never been married and no kids, into your 30s, then your 40s, and your 50s, like many women, because of their attitude. NTA, but also not this sub. I don't know what NTA is. I think people change a lot from their early 20s to late 20s, and then again later in life. I was just saying that. I agree. So it is not impossible that you've developed or nurtured different priorities, and so has he. Maybe you outgrew him. Well, that's the way it appears she outgrew him, but she's not giving him a chance She's not giving him a chance to build himself up. This dude has a master's degree. You think he's not going to do something with it? If he was a dumb guy and didn't have great priorities, he would have never gone to school for whatever it was, 6 to 8 years, get a master's degree. He's tired. He wants to rest a little bit. In the meantime, while he rests, he'll work some odd jobs to make enough money to pay his rent and everything else he's been paying. You're just not being patient. You're being very controlling. This woman's being controlling, the one in the original posting. In terms of the financial support element, I'd say that if you agreed on the deal with the mutually clear understanding that he's proactively hunting for permanent employment rather than taking advantage of lower rent to chill, then I think you're well within your rights to exit stage left that you choose. If she wants to, she should have left him by now if she's unhappy. But she hasn't left him for a reason. And here is the thing. Even though he's paying 40%, that's 40% more that's 40% less than she would be paying if she was living on her own. Plus, they've been together 7 years. There's an emotional attachment. And no matter how much she's flexing her muscles as a modern day independent woman who's career focused over family focused, okay, she still has emotions, and breaking up with him would still hurt her. And it would make her jaded and angry and bitter. Wow. I don't think you're the asshole, and while I don't think it is a bad idea to find yourself before entering the workforce, I do feel like he's getting a lot out of your generosity, which he'd no longer be able to do if he had to grow up and be an adult. You know what? I bet you if the roles were reversed, if this guy got his degree first and was in his career, was making good money, and she just got her master's, and she wanted to chill, take 3 to 6 months off to relax before getting into the workforce after all those strenuous college years, right? Getting the master's degree. Okay. And she worked odd jobs to make enough money to survive and paid 40% of the rent. I bet you this guy would be super thrilled. It would make him feel more like a man, like he's supporting her and being patient with her and helping her, right? So ladies, how about you flip the roles around and see how, your man would react to you in the same situation that you're reacting to him right now. Women, ladies, listen, you're emotional beings. And sometimes your thought process is extremely unreasonable, especially in this modern world where women have been liberated and they're independent, right? It's just, it's unbelievable. This is why we have issues nowadays, because of this crap right here. Okay. So I do feel he's getting a lot of your generosity, which he'd no longer be able to do if he had to grow up and be an adult. It just sounds like you're more aspirational than he is now, that you've reached this part of your life, and that should be okay. And it should be okay for you to know what/who you want and explore your own life now. This woman was probably really, really patient with him, and he was probably really supporting her while she was in college, and she probably gave him no shit. But once she graduated before him, started making money, good money, right, she started to lose respect for him, even though he's done nothing wrong. Give the guy a little bit of a break. He's still bringing in some money. Well, how about you ask him to pay 50% of the rent? Okay, pay 50-50, right? 60-40 actually is pretty close to equal. But the fact that you're paying more than him, okay, is annoying you because you women don't respect men that make less money than them or pay less of the bills than them. They just don't. That's just how women are biologically hardwired in any era, including the modern world. Okay? And then this commenter writes, good luck. Another comment, which looks like it's a woman, definitely move out despite the relationship status. Living alone is awesome. Well, you're saying that because you're probably in a similar situation. You've probably been in a similar situation and you're angry and bitter. All right, let me read one more here, and then we're going to wrap it up. This one looks pretty good. I think it's a woman. Wonder Mega. It could be a man. Can't tell. I mean, he does have a point. You do need to stop telling him what to do. He should know enough to be responsible and handle chores slash household maintenance and all of himself. Yeah, but see, she's working 8 to 10 hours a day from home, and she should also be contributing to the chores equally, right? Okay. Just because she's working 8 to 10 hours a day from home and is, making decent money with her degree or whatever, right, doesn't excuse her from doing chores and other stuff. So what she's doing is trying to make him the Mr. Mom, right? House husband, right? Housewife, house husband, however you want to say it. So she can just, focus on her work, make the money, and be the leader of the household. She's acting like a man. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I can see how it can get irritating if you are badgering him about it, but of course, the only reason you would be nagging him about such things is because he is not taking care of them on top of everything else. And that is probably because he is depressed. No, he's not depressed. He's annoyed that his woman is acting like a man. It's turning him off. She's not acting feminine. She's acting masculine. Everything about her exudes masculine energy. It's a turnoff. Let's see. He likely feels out of sync with you because while he was grad studying or whatever, nothing wrong with that, of course, you were essentially getting a few steps ahead with the actual career stuff, and now there's a gulf between you two. Now you both are sensing that, and it is not feeling too great for either of you. She probably got just a bachelor's degree and got into her work. This guy went for a master's degree. And I'm not trying to, make him sound better. But just because she finished her studies sooner than he did, because, he went and got a master's program, probably in a field that's going to eventually make more money than she's making, a lot more. You can't be understanding to that. What's going to happen is this woman is going to break up with this guy. And then he's going to get in his career. And 2, 3, 4 years from now, when he's 32 and she's 32, he's going to find a woman. He'll be making 3 times what she's making, right? And he's going to get with a different woman that respects and appreciates him and is more feminine. And this woman's going to see that and realize what she lost at that point. That's what's going to happen. Not sure how long the two of you have been cohabitating. They've been probably living together for years. They've been together 7 years. They've probably been living together for at least a few years, I would assume. Nor what your pandemic habits have been like, but I will suspect that it was the cherry on top of the shit cake of what was already a pressuring, uncomfortable situation. If you are both stuck at home all day in a pretty small space, one working, the other effing off. I have been on the other side of that. It is not too fun. This guy's not effing off. He's trying to relax and regain some energy after going to college for 6 to 8 years to get a master's degree. And he's still working a side hustle and still paying 40% of the rent like she agreed with him upon. Why couldn't she say, okay, babe, let's do 50-50, right? She agreed to take on more of the rent. She could have said, hey, let's split this 50-50 no matter what, right? And then I bet he would work his side hustle a little harder and be able to pay it. If I had to guess here, this guy's not getting a shabby deal. This guy is just going to take advantage of this situation for as long as he can. And while it may hurt the both of you, including him, when you two break up, because I know it's going to happen, he already knows it's going to happen probably, so he's going to ride it out for as long as he can. Or until something better comes along for him, whichever comes first. Probably you're going to dump him first. That's fine. Okay? If you are both stuck at home all day in a pretty small space, one working, the other effing off, I've been on the other side of that. It's not too fun. I read that a second ago. I mean, most apartments, 1-bedroom apartments, are going to be anywhere from, 500 to 700 square feet. Some even a little bigger. It's plenty of space. Anyway, like all these Reddit things, no one has any insight into all the other factors of your relationship. You left the word out, only go by the scant info presented here, plus the mood this seems to be typed with. Right. No one is taking the guy's situation into consideration here. Okay? But I've had so much experience dealing with this stuff that I already know what's going on. And she's not being fair to this guy at all. She's being very controlling. You sound pretty understandably annoyed and running out of patience. However, he might also be a really good guy who, other than the current situational stress between the two of you, might put up with a lot of your own idiosyncrasies and treat you really well otherwise. Right. She's not taking that into consideration. That's exactly what's happening. Okay? If he has just finished up his master's, that's not completely ludicrous that he might need a little time to thaw off and get his head around what is the next direction for me, especially if he has never really been out in the world in that regard before. It's not even about that. He went to college for 68 years to get that. He's tired and burnt out. He needs to recharge. If it was her on the flip side in this situation, he'd be very understanding, and she'd be expecting him to be very understanding. But on the other side here, she's not being understanding because she's not in that situation. It's him. You see how selfish that is? It's really ridiculous. It really is. This is the best comment here so far. This makes sense. It is a bitch. It can be daunting. Unfair to you in some ways, especially with the money and etc. But do you have a good thing before? It should be, did you have a good thing before this? Not do you. Grammar. Is it worth it? It probably is, which is why she's still with him. Should you guys have moved in together when you did? Well, they've been together 7 years. By that point, you should, if you're with somebody for a couple years, you should try to move in together. How were things before and as he was wrapping up his master's? Anyway, I can go on and on. Only the two of you know whether you are good together. This period will pass one way or another. Think on it and talk to him while trying to be sympathetic. This woman has absolutely no sympathy in her brain or in her head or in her heart. She's very selfish. She's a very, very selfish woman. And I think what's making her this way is the feminist agenda and her female peers and mainstream media and all these TV shows where women say, ladies, we don't need a man for anything. And you got to do it, you got to make sure you keep that man in check, right? She's one of those types of women. She's easily influenced by the agenda, which is not the way things should be. Okay? If you are just both tired of one another, then this relationship will just naturally run its course and everybody can move on and figure out whatever's going to happen next. Good luck. I think the fact that her man hasn't walked out is saying that he cares about her, doesn't want to hurt her, but also doesn't feel like standing up to her because he knows it'll upset her. I think he knows what's going on. I think he doesn't like the fact that she's being bossy and acting like a man and not being feminine, right? But here's the thing what this guy should do. He should call her out, right? I would never put up with this shit, especially at my age. I would never put up with a woman that's trying to control me because I would never try to control a woman. I don't control people. We either work out or we don't, right? But, I would call her out. And I would say, look, I don't like your attitude. You're acting all bossy. You're acting like a man. And I want to be with a feminine, sweet, loving, nurturing lady. It's a great thing that you're career focused. I respect that. But if we're going to make this relationship work, you got to make this relationship just as much of a priority as your work. At least it needs to be 50-50. This work, personal life balance is not good. It's not working for me. So you have a choice. We can sit here and work this out, and you can be reasonable with me, and we can save this 7-year relationship here that we've all invested into, or we can part ways. The choice is yours. Let me know by tomorrow. Okay? And then you walk away. You got to be a man, because women like this will not respect you if you don't man up. And that's part of the thing. This guy, it's his first relationship, even though he's 28. He's been with her 7 years since he's 21. So he doesn't know how to handle this. I mean, he knows what he has to do, but he fears her getting mad. He fears losing her, right? And as a man, you got to be fearless, because if you're not happy, you got to take a chance and stand up for yourself, even if it costs you your relationship in this case. And that's where I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I want to thank you all for taking the time to view this video. Another video is coming to this channel soon. Please like, share, subscribe, bang the bell, select all notifications. Have yourself an amazing night's sleep. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.